Okay, okay. Oh, oh, sure.
ജയരാജ് പോയല്ലോ. ആ
Good evening, all.
Good evening.
ഗുഡ് ഈവനിങ്.
I am Madhu Ravangara, film critic and former Secretary FIPRASI India. I am moderating this session. I take this opportunity to welcome all the participants, speakers, and other FIPRASI members who are attending this webinar. And FIPRASI, you may be knowing, Federation Internationale della Presse Cinematografiche, or International Federation of Film Critics, is an international organization of professional film critics and film journalists from over 50 countries of the world. It was founded in 1930 in Brussels. Now the headquarters is in Munich in Germany. FIPRASI India is the chapter of international organization of FIPRASI in India. And it was founded in 1992 by the great personalities like Sri Chidananda Das Gupta and Sri Aruna Vasudev. Now, FIPRASI India is conducting a series of webinars in this lockdown period, in this pandemic period. You know, this is the first seminar was on present crisis and present crisis in film industry and role of government. And now the second webinar in the series is based on new Malayalam cinema, its appeal, challenges, and prospects. You know, as you know, the new Malayalam cinema, there are so many characteristics. So we have to identify the characteristics of the new Malayalam cinema, how this appeal to masses, and what are the challenges we are facing in addition to that in pandemic, because we have already discussed the issues related to, or the post-COVID issues in the film industry related to this pandemic. We have already discussed it. So in particular, we are here discussing the other types of challenges. And also we have to see what are the prospects of this Malayalam film industry in the years to come. So these are the topics we are going to discuss in detail. And we have eminent panelists before us in this webinar. Let me introduce the speakers one by one. Sri Jayaraj. As you know, Jayaraj is a celebrated filmmaker from Kerala who has over 40 films to his credit. And he started his career as an independent filmmaker in 1990 with the film, I remember, Vidyarambham.
Yes.
So then after that, you know, there are so many films. I cannot mention all the films. Some of the very noted films like Paitrigam, Desadanam, Kaliyatam, Kannagi, Devanamathil, Loudspeaker, Ottal, you know, etc. Some of the noted films. So almost all his films are very reputed films, and somehow even made success in the box office too. So his films based on Navarasas, that is very important. And I think he has completed 8 films in the series. And of this, Karunam, Veeram, Bhayanagam, Shantam, all these films have gained very high acclaim, both in the national and international level. Apart from several national awards and several state awards, I have to mention that his film Karunam has bagged Golden Peacock Award at IFFI in Goa, and the Ottal has got the prestigious Crystal Bear at Berlin International Film Festival. So I'm very happy to welcome Sri Jayaraj to our midst.
Thank you so much.
Now, Beena Paul Venugopal. Beena Paul is basically a film editor associated with Parallel Film Movement in Malayalam. John Abraham's Amma Arian is her debut film, feature film. Before that, she has associated with so many documentaries, you know. Agnisachi, Daya, Bioscope, Maya, Sayanam, Karmayogi, Munnaripa, etc. are some of the films I have to mention here. She received National Film Award for the film Mitra, My Friend, directed by Revati. Apart from several state awards, she is attached with Kerala Chalachitra Academy since long, and she was serving as the artistic director of International Film Festival of Kerala for a long time. And after a gap, she has again come to Chalachitra Academy, and now she is serving as the vice chairperson of the Chalachitra Academy and the artistic director of International Film Festival of Kerala. Bina, welcome you to this webinar.
Thank you.
Santosh Babu Senan. Sri Santosh Babu Senan is seen always with his brother Satish Babu Senan, and the duo is known as Babu Senan Brothers. Sri Santosh is a scriptwriter, filmmaker, and also producer. Along with his brother, Chayam Pushiya Veedu, Vattiyal Pada, Aravi, Netra, Irita are their reputed films. And I should say one thing more. Sri Babu Senan Brothers are specially characterized by their bold and independent voice against the establishments in film industry, film institutions, and censor board. Sri Santosh Babu Senan, please, you are welcome to our midst.
Thank you.
Sri V.K. Joseph. V.K. Joseph, you can hear us? You can hear us?
Yes, he can hear.
No, V.K. Joseph.
He's muted, I think.
V.K. Joseph, please switch on your audio. Switch on your audio.
Okay. Yeah, I've switched on it.
Okay. Now I have to welcome Sri V.K. Joseph. V.K. Joseph is a national and state award-winning film critic who has authored several books on cinema. He is a member of FIPRASI India, and now he is serving as the president. He is also associated with the Federation of Film Society of India. And as a FIPRASI member and as a part of FIPRASI organization, I welcome Sri V.K. Joseph to this webinar. Sri Premchand. Premchand is a very reputed film critic and columnist who is working with the Mathrubhumi Daily, one of the leading dailies in Malayalam. He is the assistant editor in Mathrubhumi, in charge of the edit page. He is a FIPRASI member. He has attended many film festivals in India and abroad as a jury member. Sri Premchand, we welcome you to this webinar.
Thank you.
So, I think I have introduced all the speakers.
Satish.
Now
Satish.
I have a.
Okay.
Okay, yeah. I have some instructions to the participants about the questions. After all the speakers have finished their speech, then you can before that you can type questions in the chat box on your right side, and I will see the questions, and if there are questions of the same type repeating, I will filter the questions and I will direct the questions towards the particular speaker. Okay. And now I think I have a request to the speaker also. When you are not talking, please switch off the mic so that will enable us to make clear audio. So I think the preliminary instructions are over now. Now over to our webinar actual session. And I invite Sri Jairaj to start with his opinion, because he is a filmmaker and he will be having a lot of things to share with us regarding our present day topic. Mr. Jairaj.
Good evening, friends, and thanks a lot for this opportunity. Thanks, Prasi. And during this COVID time, I think this kind of discussions will be beneficial for the students and film enthusiasts. We have to mention about all Malayalam cinema while discussing about today's Malayalam cinema, I think. In my opinion, 1970s was the golden time of Malayalam cinema. Lots of great filmmakers like Adur, Aravindan, John Abraham, P.R. Bakar, K.G. George, Bharathan, Pavitran, K.R. Mohan, K.P. Kumaran, lot of film personalities came to the industry during this bohemian period of time. They contributed lots of experiments in independent cinema. They succeeded in that terms also. That was the first time International Film Festival Circuit started looking at Malayalam cinema, I think. After that, Shajin Garun, T.V. Chandran, Padmarajan contributed, and they started experimenting and succeeded in that. The important point to be noted is that those kinds of experiments started in independent cinema, not in mainstream cinema. However, today, drastic changes or experiments in Malayalam cinema are happening. Lots of Malayalam filmmakers are coming with a lot of different experiments in mainstream cinema, especially in the case of screenplay writing. The influence of melodramatic sequences, songs in mainstream cinema changes to more subtle narration and realistic performances also. Dramatical feel of conventional climaxes broken. Now almost all mainstream filmmakers are coming with new experiments. Mainstream films started getting attention in film festival circle also. While Sanil Kumar Sashidharan, Dr. Biju, Vidhu Vincent, Sudhiran, Jiva, KG, Sherry, Mithun Murali are making experiments in independent cinema. Mainstream film directors like Lijo Jos Palisiri, Zakaria, Ashik Abu are also getting acclaim in and notice in film festivals also. Nowadays, the margin between mainstream and independent cinema are becoming blurry. For example, back in the day, same kind of result was visible in Adur's film, Kodiyatam, which was a blockbuster in mainstream, ran for 101 days in theaters, at the same time participated in lots of international film festivals and lots of awards. In 1996, my film Desharnam also received similar kind of success, ran for 115 days in cinemas and got a lot of international acclaim. Now almost all films in mainstream are getting noticed in cinemas as well as in festivals. Currently, a period in Malayalam cinema can be seen as a period of renaissance, specifically in screenplay. Films like Kumbalangi Nights, Tonde Mudilam Satshi, Maheshinda Pratigaram, Sudani from Nigeria, Anjam Padra are the examples. Shyam Pushkaran contributed a lot in the new wave, and which is remarkable. Mohsin Parari, Dinoy Paulos, Midun, Manuel Thomas are today's brilliant screenplay writers and directors also. Now my question is, how far away are we from internationally acclaimed film like Shoplifters and Parasite? Thank you, friends.
Thank you, Sri Jairaj, for your commendable observations. As Jairaj was telling, there is a shift in the mainstream narrative. And the shift in mainstream narrative is the major trends in the new Malayalam cinema. He has exactly pointed it out. And now we will hear from Srimati Veena Paul regarding our topic. Over to Veena.
Yeah, thanks, Gerard. Thank you, Fipreski. This is really nice to be a part of this, especially in these times when we're all sitting so isolated and wondering what's going to happen. Also, it's quite a happy moment that Malayalam cinema has been chosen as one of the first regional cinemas. I think there's a lot of interest in Malayalam cinema, as Gerard just pointed out. I think our like Adur and Arvindan and all these films that hit the international film festival circuit, and suddenly some people were looking at it. But I would also like to look at it a little differently and say that the interesting thing about Malayalam cinema all along has been how the audience has always been engaged. As you just said, Kudiyatam has had 101 days running. We had filmmakers like Padmarajan, Bharadan. So this line between what was mainstream, what is the parallel cinema, what is has always in fact been a little blurred in Malayalam cinema. And I think it is because of content. Those days the stories were strong, Padmarajan's stories were very strong, Bharadan's stories were very strong. Therefore, they appealed to huge crowds, and all these films ran very well, and they were also critically acclaimed. But the interesting thing about it is that Malayalam cinema is totally self-contained. There is no, while we are looking around the world and seeing what is happening to cinemas around the world, for example, co-productions. Co-production is the key word now in world cinema. Everybody is looking outside for money, whereas in Malayalam cinema, you still find that people are sort of working within this system of Malayalam cinema. Nobody is pitching their films. I mean, a filmmaker like Satish, for example, who's a truly independent filmmaker, will not look outside because there is within the state the means and the audiences for this kind of film. So the point is that while film festivals are celebrating Malayalam cinema, Lijo and Sanal are really celebrated filmmakers today outside India, outside Kerala. It is what is happening within Kerala that is really interesting, that you have within the mainstream or within theatrical releases, you have very interesting stories. You have, these are films that don't look outside the state. So I think the health of the Malayalam film industry basically lies with the fact that it within the state itself, it encourages this kind of diverse type of storytelling, diverse kind of ideas, and there is an audience. Of course, it is difficult to release a film. I think Satish will talk about how difficult it is to get a film out there. And I mean, there are so many commercial sort of problems with the system. But still, you will not find that they will go outside to look. They will not only depend on festivals. There is the whole attempt is to say that, look, our audience is our primary audience, actually. So I think this baffles many people about Malayalam cinema, actually, that how come this cinema is so healthy and giving so much diversity within itself. And I think that is two things. One is certainly the Film Society movement, as we all know, how it has created not only exposure, but it's also created a lot of audiences. Secondly, I personally feel the film festival has also had a very strong role that, you you have exposure both for filmmakers and for audiences. So what's happening is that you have a film industry which is willing to, or an audience which is willing to see different kind of films. So I think at the end of it, I would say that Malayalam film cinema, as Jairaj just said, is going through a really healthy, was going through a really healthy period, but cannot flag the point that with this crisis, not only is there a crisis of labor and people and all that, but there is also going to be a crisis because of this inwardness of Malayalam cinema. I think enough people are not going to be able to see a lot of the films that are made. A lot of the films are not going to be exposed. Like through the festival, we show a lot of films to the world. I think all that is going to suffer, and it might have, in a sense, I'm thinking that it's people like Satish who are now going to thrive, because it's the small film. It's going to be that is going to sort of be the possibility for the coming time. This is what I'd like to say. I'd like to hear what everybody. Thanks.
Oh, thank you, Bina Paul. You have made a very valid point that our filmmakers are not going beyond our stage.
Madhu, I can't hear you.
I think it's a problem with you.
But I'd just like to add, I didn't make it as a negative
your voice
point.
is breaking.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah, it's okay now.
I didn't make it as a negative point. I'm saying that it's a very healthy sign that we are able to do that.
Yeah, that's what I'm also of your opinion. So it's a very valid point. That is what I wanted to say. But I would like to add one more thing in connection to that. Bina can add more about it later. I think, film festivals and film market. And film market is a major thing, because I have attended, whenever I attend the foreign film festivals, I do visit the film markets. And the film markets are the right opportunity to pitch your films, and also to have people from other countries to chat with them, and to have check the possibility of co-production. It is so I think it is high time for our film festival. IFFK should start film market regularly, not once in a while, but regularly. I think that is one of the things, and that is not the only solution. So film market is always, because I have seen the film market in Busan, and the film market in Cannes, and the film market in Berlin. Jairaj may be knowing. So in the Busan, I have seen that everything, and Prem Chandra might have also seen it. So likewise, the film markets have a high possibility of getting people from other countries for the co-production. Okay, let us pass on to the next speaker. So can I invite a film critic in between before I go to a filmmaker, Sri V.K. Joseph.
Yeah, good evening, friends. So already that Bina Paul and Jairaj made some points, and I don't want to go back to the past and the history of Malayalam cinema and all. But I want to stick on the present situations. So if you look at the landscape of Malayalam cinema, so both capital-driven box office hits and independent cinema which value art over capital. So, new, fresh and good cinema are produced much more than before. So Malayalam film industry is producing an average of about some 200 films every year as part of the industry and independent cinema. But the fact is, very few are qualified to the category of good cinema. So my question is, I am asking myself, why it's happened like that? So my answer is, the aesthetic and the cultural cannot stand in opposition. The aesthetic dimension of a film never exists apart from how it is conceptualized and how it is socially practiced and how it is received. So it never exists floating free of historical and cultural particularity. So that is the problem we have to address, I think. So, if we ask about the spectators' the experience, so what is the cinematic and cultural experience an average spectator gets from the scores of entertainment and box office driven cinema? So, actually, I feel it is in this lazy, sleazy, and slimy and dark tunnels of cinematic experience, the serpents of fake nationalism, religious bigotry, and casteism, Dalit or women oppression, etc., sneak into our national, political, and cultural consciousness and awareness. So we have to address that problem, I think. When we analyze such cinema or the entire, whether it's an independent cinema or whether it is a mainstream cinema, we have to look into that also, I think. So the digital revolution around us has enabled a lot of new filmmakers to bring forward cinema with a small budget and technical requirements. But most of them do not have the required cinematic sense and vision. It attests the fact that just because a cinema is made with a restricted budget and not getting a proper screening space, it does not make it good independent cinema. On the flip side, a cinema does not automatically become trash if it is made with more budget and geared towards commercial success with its cinematic and thematic excellence. So we cannot exclude such cinema from the category of good cinema. It's a debatable issue. The star-driven, male-chauvinistic and violent cinemas used to dominate in the commercial space. Because I think that for the last 20-25 years, our cinema was living in a fantasized world. That was not the real world. So, but now cinema, the new cinema, which break the conventions of star power and common movie tropes, have barged into the space, bringing with a breath of fresh air. So, young filmmakers are bringing forward bold and brave experiments, which has made the godfathers of both commercial and independent cinema uncomfortable. It's like that. And some independent cinema or art cinema makers are also not happy with this even, and the mainstream cinema godfathers also. But the thing about new Malayalam cinema right now is that there is no single point agenda to have a hero with a glorified feudal upper caste heritage with vengeance, muscle power, or beat up an entire army of goons. But in new cinema, stories are topical and there is no conventional formula for its treatment. With superstars, and many filmmakers had to make narratives that would gel with their superhuman images and glorified Savarna feudal past. But new generation young filmmakers, whether they work within the rules of the film industry or in the parallel or independent filmmaking, brought in focus different kinds of worlds and ordinary lives that had been marginalized before. The change came about around 2011 with the filmmaker Rajesh Pilla's Traffic. Soon enough, a host of young filmmakers came into the film industry. Ashik Abu, Lijo Jos Pellisheri, Dilish Pothan, Anjali Menon, Mahesh Narayanan, Rajiv Ravi, Amal Neeraj, Zakaria Muhammad, Salim Muhammad, Anurag Manohar, and Manu Ashagan, Khalid Rahman, and a few. And independent cinema, and in the area of independent cinema also, this young filmmakers with new ideas and new styles, Dr. Biju, Sanal Kumar Sachidharan, Sandor Sadish Babusanan, Manoj Khanna, and Kayar Manoj, Sherry Govindan, Vidhu Vincent, Jagida, Sudevan, Binu Kolichal, and Manu, Shanavas Naranipura, Sajin Babu, Don Palapara, Sharif Isa, Deebesh, and so many youngsters are coming forward with the new ideas and new structure of cinema. So these youngsters who represent two streams of Malayalam cinema, talk about things like love, sexuality, gender, relationships, family, marginalized community, etc. They experimented with new characters, stories, situations, languages, and music that were very naive, that were very native and local. So, and that was not glamorized also. Very common and marginalized characters appeared in the screen. So, I think that is why the people came to the theater again. And as Beena stated, the contributions of Film Society movement and the Chalachitra Academy with the festivals and appreciation camps and study groups and study literature, new literature, discussions and everything helped to make a good story and narratives or theme and structure for these new filmmakers. So actually, I am very positive about the this new development. Except the independent filmmakers are not getting a space to exhibit their film. That we have to look into very serious. And the another part I would say is when the discussion comes, I will extend some more ideas. Now, thank you very much.
Thank you, Sri Joseph, for entering into the characteristics of the new Malayalam cinema. Now we can hear from another filmmaker, producer, and also the screenwriter, Sri Santosh Babu Senan. Please.
Hello, everyone. It's a pleasure to be part of this discussion. On the outset, I disagree with some of the things that have been said here. I'll try to explain that. Because I believe that there is a fundamental confusion here between independent cinema and what we call middle stream cinema. So these are three different things. You have the mainstream, you have the independent cinema, and you have what are generally called the middle stream films, which are a mix of the two. But before I come to that, I want to point out something interesting about independent cinema, the history of independent cinema. It's a kind of metacritic on the history of independent cinema. I think that's very eye-opening. Because independent cinema started in the US, like all cinema, it started in the US. And first you had Edison and his company, and it was a monopoly. And then there were independent filmmakers who came up and started the United Artists. In another 10 or 20 years, United Artists became the mainstream cinema there. They became the industry. They had control over distribution and exhibition chains. And along with a few others, which are called the big five studios there in the US, in Hollywood, like Paramount and MGM and all that, they were controlling the industry. And then slowly what happens is that independent filmmakers find that they have no way of showing their films. So a few independent filmmakers came up. They were called the SIMP, the Society of Independent Movie Producers. So they started a new movement of independent films. This was sometime in the 40s. Now what happens is that by the time you reach the 50s and the 60s, these people have become the mainstream. They have a chokehold on the distribution and the exhibition streams. And then after that, you had people like, say, Martin Scorsese and all these people who came up, and they are called the New Hollywood. They were all filmmakers who came from film schools. They are the new independent filmmakers. In another 15 to 20 years, you find that they are the industry. They have new studios called Zoetrope and Lucasfilm and all that, and they are the industry. They have their own lines of distribution and exhibition. And independent filmmakers find that they are unable to show their films. So new independent filmmakers come up. So what happens is that that's how you have the Sundance Film Festival and all that. It started in 91, mainly for independent filmmakers, to showcase their work, have discussions and all that, to generate new interest in independent film. Now what you find here is there is a cyclical repeat of independent filmmakers coming up. Independent filmmakers and the whole caravan that works with it, the camp. It comes up, and then eventually in 15 to 20 years, they become the mainstream. This has happened all over the world, not just in the US. That's why I'm saying this. This has happened all over the world. And it has happened in India, and it is happening in Kerala also. This is what I want to come to. What happened here was our independent film started in the 70s with Aravindan, Adur, and John Abraham and all that. They were independent filmmakers. And fortunately, they are independent filmmakers even now. The two of them are no more, but their films are still independent. What has happened is that initially, the films that people have been mentioning on this panel, which were successful like Kodiyattan or Jayaraj's Desharana, these are all very rare films. We can name only, that's why we talk about these films. These are exceptions. Usually independent films do not run in theaters. That's a reality we cannot hide, that we cannot run away from. Very few independent films run in theaters. And these are lucky, fortunate films that have run, and they are rare. So let's face that. So what happened was that in the 90s, some filmmakers got together, and the government also supported them. And they started the Kerala Chalachitra Academy, which was meant to support independent films. Now, just like I said in the old story, what has happened is that for about 10, 15 years, it was running very well. But just as it happened in the US and in other countries, this system, including the Chalachitra Academy, has been appropriated by the mainstream. Now, they don't know what is the difference between mainstream and independent cinema. Either they don't know it, or they're being very disingenuous and pretending not to know the difference. There is a big difference. Everybody knows that. And so now what happens is that they are promoting middle stream films as though they are independent. But I'm quite sure they know it, they are not independent films at all. They are middle stream films. Because like Mr. V.K. Joseph, he gave a list of filmmakers, but he gave two lists. The second list are independent filmmakers. The first list are not independent filmmakers. They are what you call the middle stream filmmakers. I'm not talking about the quality of their films. These are two separate lists. Now you're confused. This is the whole problem. The Academy is totally confused. They think these people are independent filmmakers, and they are hell-bent on promoting them, and they don't need this promotion. Their movies are running in theaters for hundreds of days. They have a market. They don't need your promotion. This is the fact. Your promotion, if at all you were interested in promoting, should be aimed at independent filmmakers. Unfortunately, that's not happening. But let me come to the flip side, the good side of the whole situation. That is that independent filmmakers got together and tried to petition the Academy and the government and all that about these things. But fortunately or unfortunately, these bodies are not interested. They don't want to listen. They simply defend by saying that all mainstream films are also Malayalam cinema. We have to promote them. In fact, they have been on record saying that our job is not to promote independent films. It's to promote all Malayalam cinema. So this is the situation now. So what the independent filmmakers are now thinking of doing is that there is no point looking at this direction. You know, this is not going to work for us, for independent filmmakers. We have to find a new path. This path is stuck, you know, it's blocked. So we have to find a new path. So fortunately, what we find now is that a lot of OTT platforms are coming up. Till now, the point was that unless the film was accepted by the IFFK or the Chalachitra Academy, there was no way an independent filmmaker could take his film to the audience. He could never show it anywhere, you know. Now, fortunately, there is a new route opening up. That is the OTT platforms. A lot of OTT platforms are coming up. And hopefully, some of them will be very supportive of independent films. That's what I hope. And I think it's going to happen. So naturally, these independent filmmakers will find a new way of reaching their audiences, their viewers, without without actually going through the Academy or people who are supposed to be supporting independent cinema, but who are now confused between middle stream and independent cinema. So this is the positive side that I'm seeing now. And I agree with Veena that there's a positive side now. So this is the picture I see. And as we go along, we can talk. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Shri Santosh Babu Sanen, for your very valid points to bringing it out. Actually, this is the problem we are facing. You know, you are tracing the history of independent cinema. You have definitely demarcated what is exactly the middle cinema and the independent cinema. So I think his main concern, or our main concern, is actually to bring out this independent cinema to the audience. That is always the problem, and definitely the government support is a must. That is what he was pointing it out, and we will discuss about it later when Bina Paul will be talking. And now Sri Premchand is going to deliver his talk regarding this particular issue. I think most of the people who were the speakers were not catching the point of the mass appeal. I think Premchand, can you just highlight on the point? How does this new Malayalam cinema appeal masses? Premchand, your audio is not okay.
Can you hear?
Okay, now it's okay.
Thank you, Madhu. Presenting a short note regarding our subject.
Yeah, no problem. Okay.
As a practicing film critic in the mainstream media, I would like to focus upon the area of criticism within our subject, New Malayalam Cinema. Throughout the history of cinema, the dominant ideology determined the content. It is predominantly capitalistic, male, and heterosexual. Film criticism too established its territory likewise. Tracing back to 50s, film criticism popularized by the trio Cynic, Kozhikkodan, and Nadir Shah was mostly engaged with the text, rarely exploring the subtext, inner dynamics, or political unconscious. In early 80s, film critics like Dr. T.K. Ramachandran and Chinda Ravindran initiated the ideological film criticism, exposing the nexus of money invested in the films and the content generated. I myself was attracted to this line, which probably evolved as a part of the active film society movement of the period. To have legendary filmmaker Jonah Abraham in the movement fanned the flame. His radical people's movement called Odessa was a real alternative for filmmaking, but unfortunately it found no succession. The art house films could never serve as a real parallel. It had to yield to the power play of state-run machineries the way mainstream films were to private production houses. Radical initiatives with variant perspectives as Dalit, feministic, queer was almost impossible to be materialized. Malayalam cinema could not evade censorship of capital and power, which is devastating. Old or new, commercial or art house, shared the same ideological fallacy due to this dual censorship. The celebrated new is not new enough for me. Though seemingly new at the outset, they are mere modified versions of the old. Illustratively, look at the way it is continuing with the explicit anti-woman, anti-Dalit content. Recently, New Paths seems to be evolving with amazingly low-budget productions, independent cinema, as they are called, with hardly any support from the mainstream, but traveling across boundaries. Dr. Biju, Sanal Kumar Sashidaran, Dr. J. Geeta, Jeeva, Babusan and Brothers, Pradap Joseph, Sudevan, Jayan Cherian are to name a few. Even popular film director Jayaraj falls in this line. They have marked themselves in the international film circuit, expanding the horizon of medium through thematic brilliance and depth. This is where I find the new Malayalam cinema, the real, radical, parallel, experimental alternative. Back to my area of film criticism, in the last 35 years in this career, I have dealt with criticism in many forms, being in charge of film page of a newspaper and later editing the film journal of our publishing house. In my journey, I have noticed a fundamental difference in criticism since 1991. The globalization marked the change. Earlier, it was relatively possible to criticize films. Post 1991, the threat of advertisement ban has made criticism near impossible, as being a major source of revenue. Capitalists being more arrogant to criticism of any form. Film criticism has given way to film promos today. You could see also all mainstream media has stopped film criticism per se. Little Magazine attempted a parallel stream, but social media with a bang has taken over. Blogs, Facebook, Twitter are much ahead with film analysis compared to print and visual media. I conclude with the observation that I can spot the new Malayalam cinema in independent filmmakers and social media film critics, not of course the paid online PR agents. Hope lies in those who can transcend the challenges enforced by capital and the dominant ideology. This could mark the history of new Malayalam cinema and new Malayalam criticism. Thank you.
Thank you, Premchand. Your point of view, these are mainly based on the critic point of view. So I appreciate it very well, because as a critic, it is your prerogative to speak about the present state of films as well as the state of criticism. Thank you so much. And the first round of our webinar is over, but now I have a few questions from our spectators, the participants. Sorry. So I think I can give you each one of you 3 minutes more, because it's only 6:45. So please sum up your points within 3 minutes so that we can answer. There are a lot of questions to answer, so we can discuss about the questions later. So just to conclude, what exactly you want to say in this session within maybe the maximum 3 minutes, because 3 minutes itself takes 15 minutes. Then we have only half an hour left for the question and answer session. So can I start with Mr. Jayaraj again?
Okay. I think during this discussion, I'm impressed with Babu's talk, because it's very current. And the position before OTT and after OTT is different. That is the tremendous, drastic changes going to happen in the film industry. So any filmmaker can exhibit his film to any extent, because OTT will support for that. A lot of OTT platforms are coming up. So the problem of distributing the film is not at all a problem. Can you hear me? And one more thing, regarding the film case of DC, Kerala State Film Development Corporation, as Babu said, the intention of starting case of DC was very good, because during that time they are trying to support independent filmmakers, but it's already fallen in the mainstream, because almost all the theaters are meant for mainstream cinema, and it's very difficult to get a release for independent filmmakers to that theater. So KSFD is out of question. So we can just dream about OTT platforms now. All new generation filmmakers can dream about good cinema, and I think they will definitely conquer the world with OTT platforms. That's the only possible way. Thank you.
Yeah, we can't hear you.
It's okay now?
Yeah.
Yeah, now I think Bina can respond.
Yeah, I think 2-3 things I'd like to say. I think Santosh has brought up a valid point about the Chalachitra Academy. I think Jairaj has brought up a very much more valid point also about the State Film Development Corporation. Certainly the corporation was started and the theatres were started to provide this space for independent distribution. Now that's a different story, we can't. About Chalachitra Academy, I would like to say, first of all, I am a little confused over here when we keep saying independent. Malayalam cinema has not had a history of the studio system at all. Films are made usually by independent producers. They make one film. If the film does well, it becomes a mainstream film. If it doesn't do well, usually it's not considered, and the producer fades away and the director fades away. So within Malayalam cinema, the notion of an independent film, unlike what you were mentioning about the US, where it was a big studio system, they grew into big studios, we don't have that system over here. So basically it is everybody, they become commercially success and then they become a kind of institution. Now this criticism about the academy only wanting to promote a certain type of cinema, I refute this completely. I refute this because certainly we get, for the IFFK, we are not a commercial organization. For the IFFK, we are to present a bouquet of what is happening in Malayalam cinema today, right? This is our mandate. Now, this promotion is only a one-time exposure at the festival. We are not giving, there is a small amount of money, very small amount of money that is given, which is not going to get you all anywhere. But the point is that as a festival, when we curate a festival, we cannot dismiss one kind of film and only the other, take on only the other kind of film. And there is definitely no mandate at all to say that we are not considering one type. I think very clearly the mandate is that let us present what is happening in Malayalam cinema today as a whole. Now, what has happened, I think, with the advent of digital is that there is a lot of laziness. I know there are a lot of filmmakers who suffer, who try hard to make films, but I also find that we see a lot of films and we do know that there are a lot of people who just make films because today it's possible. There isn't the discipline, there isn't the, even the politics. There are lots of things involved which are often not are often questionable. I would like to say now, when we talk about Parasite and so on, the filmmaker of Parasite is considered an independent filmmaker. But look at that film. What I'm saying is that an independent filmmaker is not only a low-budget filmmaker. I think independence also has to be interpreted as styles of storytelling. Do you go against the mainstream? Do you pick up things that, you're taking a risk. You are taking a risk when you pick up topics that may or may not work. The very fact that, when you make a film and you take up something that is not going to give you 100%, like Joseph said, it's not star-driven, etc. So the whole notion of independent cinema is very interesting in Malayalam cinema. This is what I'm trying to say. And I know there are questions about why don't we have a market, etc. This is a big challenge that the Chalachitra Academy has had to face, is about this market. You see, the problem with the market is that everybody keeps asking, why don't we have a market? Why don't we have? People come here not only to buy, but to sell. We do not have any possibilities of any one sales distributor coming here and saying they can show their films. A market is when they can sell and they buy, right? They look out, and the problem with our system is that there isn't any buying at all that happens here. So people are not very interested in coming. And when they do come, it is the whole bouquet of Indian cinema. Malayalam cinema is only one small part of it. So our attempt has been to try and at least create an interest in Malayalam cinema. And I think that has happened. And I think because of that, there has been a lot of traction. I think even the OTT platforms are interested. I think a lot of this promotion has helped Malayalam cinema. So I disagree with the fact that we have an agenda against a particular type of cinema. No, I would say, are in fact totally committed to promoting Malayalam cinema and knowing that people take risks when they make certain kinds of films, and all these films needn't do really well. Some do really well, but the filmmaker has taken a risk, like you take a risk or somebody else takes a risk. And I think the other thing is, how do you become mainstream? Is this, what is mainstream is the point, finally. Do independent filmmakers then step into this notion of being star-driven, etc., is also self-questioning that has to happen.
Thank you, Beena, for making things very clear. I think there may be more questions about it directed towards you.
Yeah, sure.
Now, I think Mr. V.K. Joseph can speak. Please try to minimize it within 3 minutes. Joseph, can you hear? V.K. Joseph, can you hear?
Okay.
Joseph, put on your audio.
Yeah, it's on.
Okay, please talk. Please speak.
Okay. I want to clarify some 2 points. One, my friend Santosh Bausanan pointed out that it's a bit confusion. I never mixed with the mainstream and independent cinema. I talked about the 2 streams. So I was telling that these youngsters who represent 2 streams of Malayalam cinema talk about things like love, sexuality, gender, relations, like that. So I was clearly mentioning the 2 or 3 streams like that. So another point is that I don't believe that we all work for the independent cinema, like all the art cinema, but I don't think that this academy is for exclusively for this independent cinema. Why? The academy's main aim is to build a new film culture, a good film culture. So the mainstream also has to be changed. So I believe that the mainstream changes has been occurred because of the independent filmmaking and the film societies and the film festivals and the criticism. The film critics and other sociological critics were attacking the mainstream's content and their stardom business and all. So that was a political and it's a cultural movement. So definitely, so mainstream has to change. So more people has to go to the theater, and they have to be very conscious about what they are seeing and all. So the gender issue and the caste issue, this Savarna domination, so many issues are there, political issues. So now this mainstream is the new group is addressing with that. They are very cautious about that. That is only because of this independent cinema and the film society movement and film festivals. That's my point.
Thank you, Joseph. Over to Sri Santosh Babusanan.
Yeah. A couple of points have become very clear to me. One is that when Beena says there is nothing called independent cinema here, it's just playing on words actually. It's a distinction between mainstream and parallel cinema. It's parallel cinema that we call independent cinema. So you know the difference. And the difference is also shown in the list of filmmakers that Mr. V.K. Joseph said. Two lists. One is the parallel filmmakers, which we call independent filmmakers, and the other is the middle stream filmmakers. They are different. So, but unfortunately, the academy is now promoting the middle stream filmmakers. But now what has become clear to me, and this is a vital point, you know, as an independent filmmaker, this is what I take away from what you have said, the two of you, Beena and Mr. V.K. Joseph. What I understand is that you are no more concerned with independent cinema exclusively. This is what you're saying. You are concerned with the total development of Malayalam cinema, including the mainstream, the middle stream, and the independent. And you're also trying to improve the mainstream, like Mr. Joseph said. Improving the mainstream is also one of your concerns. So now what I learned from this is that independent filmmakers need not look at you for any kind of help. This is what it shows. You're not concerned with that. Your concern is with a much larger Malayalam cinema. What I thought was that in the 90s, when the academy was started, it was started for independent cinema. This is what I thought. This is what a lot of people thought. And I hope a lot of people also think so. They share my view, I think. I hope so. But I know that there are a lot of independent filmmakers who think that. I know so many who think that the academy was started for independent films. And they also think that the academy is now catering to middle stream and mainstream films. So one thing is clear, like I said,
Not like that.
independent filmmakers cannot expect anything from
Not like that.
Thank you very much.
That's a misunderstanding.
But that's what you said. You were saying
No,
that.
that's not that. I was
That's
not
what I
talking
understand.
like that. No, I was just mentioning that film culture as a whole has to be improved. So
Yeah,
the
that's
visual
what- but
culture
I
has
don't
to be
think-
changed.
Can I just
Personally,
say,
I don't think that's
Santosh,
the job of
this
the
is
academy.
not
That's
a
what he said.
forum
May I
for
just
you
finish
to
this?
be, sorry, this was a webinar on Malayalam cinema. I don't think this is the forum for us to be squabbling about this. Point well
Yeah,
taken.
correct.
Point well taken. We have said what we are doing. You please tell us what you are doing and how you are promoting your films, etc. I think this is not, I mean, after all, this is a national, this thing. Let us sit and talk about what your expectations were, etc. But I think I'd like to know, how do you raise the money for your films? How do you choose your topics? I mean, these are the interesting things, I think, for us to learn from an independent filmmaker.
Oh, thank you.
But I would like to say
let us not deviate from the main topic.
Yeah, that's.
Let
But
us hear from.
one thing is important.
You can
Like
just please let me ask Premchand to complete his.
Yeah, please.
Code. Sri Premchand.
My point is clear, I think. Transcending the dominant ideology is new cinema. That is my point. Be it cinema or criticism. Independent cinema is going to be more powerful post-COVID. That is what I feel. Now, cinema does not need a theater for release or any expensive infrastructure, which has become the order of the day. Strangely enough, we are discussing market, not cinema. Cinema is important. Ideology matters. That's my point.
Thank you, Premchand. I think we have made an introduction of the topic though we have deviated at some part to some extent, but let us come back again with some sort of questions that is appearing on in the chat box. And I have a lot of questions, and let us take it one by one. The first question put forward by Mr. Kaushik Tamil Maran. I think it's a long thing. Can someone please kindly put up the list of filmmakers at various times in Malayalam cinema that was mentioned? I think Jairaj can just highlight some of the filmmakers. Can someone please kindly put up the list of filmmakers at various times in Malayalam cinema that was mentioned? Because he's from Tamil, I think. So he may be interested to know the main filmmakers of our period.
I think I already discussed about that. During 70s, started the independent movement, started with Adoor, Aravindan, and all kind of, and a lot of changes, drastic changes have happened during maybe 80s, 90s, like that. I think it's quite difficult to repeat the list again.
Yeah, it's okay. Thank you. Because you can see it in there will be an online connection for this webinar, so you can watch it on the webinar, the online platform. Now, Ondrila Hasra has another question. The main way people outside Kerala are watching cinema is through OTT. So for them, they can access Malayalam cinema and access Malayalam cinema only through OTT platforms. So I think that is a very pertinent, very good question, because I think Babu Senen Santosh can answer the question.
Yeah, I answer that. But first of all, I would like to say that the accusation that I had diverted from the topic is wrong, because I was talking about the
No, it's not,
challenges.
It's not like
No, I want to clarify that. I was talking about the challenges and scope of independent cinema. I think that's part and a relevant part of this discussion. I did not deviate. And if you say I deviated, then you're basically saying that independent cinema is not part of this discussion.
No, it's okay. It's okay.
I don't think you're saying that. I know you're not saying that, but I just want to put it on record that I did not deviate. Okay, now that's done.
It's okay. I told you that you have raised a very valid point. That's what my assessment is.
Thank you. And that is not a deviation at all.
Yeah, no, naturally.
The question is, like films can be seen on OTT platforms alone. And now I think if more OTT platforms come up, they can watch a lot of independent films also. Basically, what I would like to say once more is that I have nothing against mainstream or middle cinema. I watch these movies also. I have nothing against them. But I'm just saying that the Academy was meant for independent cinema. That's what I thought. That's what I think. That is all. Thank you.
I would just like to bring Madhu, about Oindrila's question regarding the OTT platforms. I think the problem is that the OTT platforms have not really looked in depth into Malayalam cinema. What they do, as Santosh has just also said, that a lot of it is just, what is popular, what is trending, etc. I think now in this time when there is such a crisis, I think certainly what we should do is be able to offer them all kinds of films, so that there is a greater chance. And I think certainly things like subtitling, marketing, trailer cutting, all this has to be looked into so that it is available for a wider audience.
So can I ask Bina a question, not from here, because East Chalachitra Academy has any plan to start any OTT platform, so that you can cater all the Malayali audiences outside, Malayali as well as other audiences out. So I just asked one to...
Yeah. The thing is that I think there is a misunderstanding about what the Academy is to do. Our main attempt has been to create a culture around cinema where people watch good films, learn about cinema, understand the history of Malayalam cinema. To start an OTT platform is a different challenge altogether. You see, who is going to give us films? Can we afford films? So it is a very, very challenging thing. We have thought a lot about having a portal. We have tried to get films for that. But more than that, I think we are thinking more of an archive. And certainly this idea, and I see there is a question about the film market. We have been struggling a lot with the film market because one is that it needs a huge budget. We have to have people who are interested in coming. So that challenge is not easy. We have tried very often and not been very successful, which is a problem. So I think that criticism is valid, that how much more can we push ourselves and raise money and create a proper market so that people like Santosh have a chance. But I would also like to mention that I think it's also apt to say that we have a chain of theaters. I think that is where the independent filmmakers should go, to say that, look, the government has theaters, give us space in these theaters to show this film, give us a chance, because that is where it is a possibility. Whereas for the Chalichitra Academy, perhaps at one festival or two festivals, there may be some promotion, but the actual commercial possibility of a film, I think, is through theater release.
Yeah,
I have a question.
Thank you. Thank you very much for making it very clear.
Can I ask a question?
Yeah, please.
Yeah, this is regarding the discussion, between Babu and Bina and Joseph. I think why IFFK is selecting internationally classic films to students or film goers, because we are looking for independent cinema. We are not bringing Hollywood cinema, isn't it? And in the festival, film societies, like Joseph said, in film societies also, we are promoting independent cinema. We are showing that only. We are not showing Hollywood cinema. So this is especially for independent cinema, academy and film societies both. So we have to promote independent cinema at any cost, because government has to start an OTT platform, and they have to release almost all the independent experimental cinema. Then only film will grow, the culture will grow up. That's my feel.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, please, you can ask. They can answer it together. Sri Babu Sene.
No, I was saying that I was in complete agreement with that. That's a very important point you made, because these film societies and the academy must be meant exclusively for independent films. And I think that is the way they were conceived. It's just that they have lost their way now. And then now they're trying to promote mainstream and middle stream cinema and saying that they have been made to promote all kinds of Malayalam cinema. I don't think that is the fact at all. The fact is that they were made for independent
point
cinema.
Well taken. Point taken. Can we talk about
for independent films? Thank you.
Yes.
Thanks.
I think because it has already been explained, and now she has already told that the point has been taken into notice. There is a question from Dr. Janet that we are not getting screening place for our films. Nowadays, film festivals are not happening. Only online film festivals going on. How can you help us? I think Bina can answer it.
Well, we are also trying. We want to do some online festivals, etc. That's what we are trying. I think Fipresci is doing online festivals. I mean, I think we are all as lost as everybody else about how we can help filmmakers at this point. But we are trying to work out a system, have online festivals. So I can only say that in the next few weeks, we will come up with a strategy. We're going to call for films, etc., and hope that we will be able to help filmmakers who are not being able to show their films anywhere.
Yeah, thank you. Our GP Ramayendran has not a question, some statement, but it has already been explained by Srimati Beena Paul regarding the function of, or the function to promote the film culture in Kerala. So you have already explained it. Then Debsis Barua, Best Barua from Assam, has a question: how independent filmmakers can get good target audience and return of investment? I think Sri Santosh Babu Saran can answer, because you are struggling for it.
Yeah, what I would like to say is that although I like the idea that Beena proposed of getting theaters in Kerala, I don't think that's a proper solution for independent filmmakers, because from what I understand, in Kerala, the viewership for independent filmmakers wouldn't be more than about 2,000 people. This is what I think. It's not based on any proper research, just a general idea. But what I understand is that there is a huge audience for independent cinema spread all over the country. And for that, OTT platforms are the best way to reach people. So you can get lots of people to watch your films if you are on an OTT platform. But if you're trying to release your film in Kerala, I don't think you're going to reach anywhere. I don't think it's going to be a successful way of exhibiting the film. But of course, it's nice. Some films might work in the theaters, but most independent films are experimental, and they probably don't fit the usual pattern of movies that people like watching. So they may not have a good run at theaters. It'll be definitely much better to go on OTT platforms or other festivals and routes like that.
Thank you. Mr. Ranjita Biswas, who is also a FIPRASI member, has made a statement. Some of the recent Malayalam films I have watched recently as a FIPRASI member are definitely on top rank of regional cinema at present. I think Mr. Jairaj can comment on it.
Excuse me? Yeah, what's the question exactly?
Some of the recent Malayalam films, it's a statement from one of our film critics. Some of the recent Malayalam films I have watched recently as a FIPRASI member are definitely on top rank of regional cinema at present.
That's because almost all new filmmakers are coming with a new idea. They are trying to say in a very different way, because every different cinema is getting a lot of acclaim and a lot of appreciation in our place, especially I think in our language. Most of the youngsters are coming with a different thought and a different cinema concept. So the narration in maybe sometimes the story may be same, but still the narration will be different. So the attempt to do something different is the ultimate.
Thank you, Jairaj. I hope Ranjita Biswas has got the answer. And there is a long question from...
And Madhu, so I would like to point out one question, not a question, it's an opinion by Kunjila. So Santosh...
Yeah, that I was just... have you read it? I will read it for others.
Yeah, Kunjila says, yeah, it is not true that independent filmmakers don't need expensive equipment, etc. We also want to make films that are high in production value. Why would I not shoot on Arri Alexa if my producer gives me that? I am an independent filmmaker and I want the best technicians, equipment, studio, etc. for all my films. It's a valid point, I think, because that my point is in connection with that one. If you make a film with a shoestring budget, then all of a sudden you cannot claim that it's a independent cinema. So many filmmakers are claiming that they're making the small budget is an independent cinema. It's not like that. But Santosh Babu Sanan or Satish Babu Sanan, they are making brilliant cinemas. They are Vatyalpada and all. So one of the best film in Malayalam. But we cannot say that. So whatever films they make, we cannot. I cannot accept it. Sometimes I may like. I may not like that. So if some producer comes with a big budget and they can make a film with their own perspective and their cultural, political positions, is it an independent cinema or and it goes to the theater also? Suppose it goes to the theater, so theater accept it. Then whether it is an independent cinema or some mainstream cinema. So my point is that independent cinema defines because it stands for the artistic excellence, at the same time content and theme particularity. That is the point. There is no compromise on your treatment and your subject. So then it is a independent cinema. That's my point.
Okay, thank you.
Can I answer that?
Yeah, I can.
Yeah. The thing is, I have two things to add to that. The first part is having an area, let's say a camera and a big budget is not the issue. You can make an independent film with any kind of camera. That's not the point. The distinction between an independent film and a mainstream film is the audience that the director has in his mind. Who are you making the film for? That is the determining factor. If you are making the film for a mass audience, then that is called a mainstream film. If you're making a film for a niche audience of people who like to watch independent films, then that is an independent film. It has nothing to do with what equipment you have, what budget you are using. It is the audience that you're addressing that makes the difference.
Thank you for the valid point. There is a question from, again, Srimati Kunjila. And actually the question has been answered by Bina Paul regarding the film bazaar and why there is no government support for the newcomers, etc. It's already been answered. So let us go for the next question from Vijayan Punnatur. What about Adur committee report which has been pending? So I don't know who can answer the question. Is Bina Paul or Joseph can answer the question? What about Adur committee report which has been pending?
I think the Adur committee report is has been placed before the government, and a lot of the suggestions have been taken note of very seriously. But there is a process. Basically, I think there is a regulatory committee, regulatory mechanism that is being put in place, and it is in the law department at the moment. I think it may take a little time, but it is in the process to regulate the film industry. Various things in the film, not to regulate the industry, but to sort of make it more professional and streamline it.
Thank you. Our friend, film critic Irudadatta has got a statement, an observation, of course. Malayalam films are the best, especially in terms of crossing boundaries and representing India. I think Vicky Joseph can add to it. Can you hear? No.
Okay.
Okay.
Now you can hear it.
Yeah.
Of course, we have good cinema. We have good filmmakers and all. So at the same time, we have to see what is happening in Marathi cinema and even in Hindi cinema. And many tons new filmmakers are coming with good ideas and good excellence and all. So that we cannot always claim that so we are the champions. We cannot say that. Good cinemas are coming out. Even I think that even Hindi also some films are coming. So a Hindi film Lunchbox. How we will evaluate that cinema, how we will address that cinema, whether it is an independent or whether it is a theatre cinema. So many other films are there, and some Dalit issues. Many Marathi cinemas are coming, and it scores in the theater, collecting it. At the same time, this is excellent craft and strength of the theme, very bold. So we have to look all the languages, I think. Of course, Kerala, we are because of the Free Society movement and new films, new ideas, independent films. Many groups are working here. A lot of dialogues are also there, interaction.
Okay,
So that definitely all this dialogue will create a democratic space, I think. Santosh Babusanan can argue their point, and I can make my point. But at the same time, we all work for the good cinema.
Thank you. I think Premchand is. Are you here? Are you there? Premchand, are you there? Are you there?
Yeah.
Okay. The next question is to you from Dr. K. Santosh Babu. Once we had a long list of eminent established filmmakers, but now in Malayalam cinema, normally the majority enjoys newcomers films, though they are not that established. So you have an answer?
What's the question? I'm not clear.
Okay. Once we had there is some problem with your audio, I think. Once we had a long list of eminent established filmmakers, but now in Malayalam cinema, normally the majority enjoys newcomers films, though they are not that much established. So why the people of the present day goes to the newcomers films?
I think changing times happening. Newcomers are still struggling, not very much established in the line of mainstream. It is not easy to establish.
Yeah, I think it's maybe due to the narrative, the new narrative strategy they are taking. That may be one of the reasons. There are so many reasons.
Asking about the new Malayalam cinema.
Yeah.
Oh, I see. Oh, I think it's all the modified versions of all the midway of Malayalam cinema. Palparajan, Bharathan done many types of cinemas earlier, and this new cinema, so-called new cinema, is the modified versions of mid Malayalam cinema. That's
old wine in the new bottle. That is what you want to say.
Definitely.
Okay, thank you.
Not much new.
Yeah. We have another question. We lose cinema watching experience on OTT. Does it mean that we see more video movies only on OTT? Does it change the grammar of filmmaking? Who can answer? Sri Babusanan or Sri Bina Paul? Sri Babusanan, can you try?
Yeah, good. Then the OTTs, I think, will change over time. Because now when you put something on OTT, on a platform, on an OTT platform, you're basically putting in your stereo sound. And that's enough. You don't have to make a 5.1 or 7.1 mix of your sound. The stereo is good enough. But even that will change, I think. Eventually, most of these OTT platforms will carry 7.1 sound or more sophisticated sound. So you have to think of those things. And changes will keep happening. Maybe in every year you have a new thing added to the OTT platform, and filmmakers will have to adjust to all those things. I think that's what will happen.
Thank you.
I would just like to add to that point.
Please.
Apart from the technical thing, I am quite concerned about how the cinema viewing experience is getting changed by the OTT. I don't know. I mean, of course, technically it's different, as you just mentioned, but I also think in terms of engagement, in terms of choice, now also how they direct your choice The moment you put on any of the OTT platforms, if you have seen one film, they'll direct you to another film. So I think these are all new challenges for filmmakers. So it's not enough just to say, okay, my film is on an OTT platform, therefore I will get 10,000 viewers who like it. But you will also find that people watch films halfway, people walk away, people eat popcorn and take care of. So I think there's a whole new challenge that is coming with OTT, and I think this is the question, that how does it change the way a filmmaker works? How does it change the way that you look at your film, etc.? I think it is challenging. It's not just technical that you say, okay, this was showing there and therefore I can put it here. I think filmmakers have to engage seriously with what is this transformation from the big screen to an OTT. And I don't think there is a simple answer, really.
Yes, Premchand.
No, I just want to add one more comment upon as Kunjala's comment. It is fine to be expensive, as Kunjala said, but to generalize, one can't deny it doesn't have a comparison with the budget of mainstream cinema, which are mostly star-centered. I think Jairaj can comment upon the theme. He done both type of films, mainstream and experimental. Please comment upon the theme.
Jairaj, are you there? Sri Jairaj, are you there? No. I think yes. Yeah, we will ask the question when he comes back. Okay. There's a question by another Meenakshi yesterday regarding the OTT platforms. I think it has already been answered. There is a question to Mr. Santosh Babu Sainen by Michael Vishwamitra. How do you choose your topic and generate monies? No, I think it's a long topic. So we have a limited time to discuss about it.
Yeah. Should I answer that? No,
yeah, you can. If it is short.
Yeah. No, I mean, generating ideas is not a problem because, there is no dearth of ideas. But generating money is definitely a problem. It's very difficult to generate money. So most independent filmmakers, what we do is we keep our budgets very, very small. And that is how we make these films, So even OTT platforms will eventually be able to give us the money we've spent. That's a possibility. So keeping the budgets very small is very vital for us. But that doesn't mean, like in the previous question, that to be an independent filmmaker, you have to keep a small budget. No, that's not that at all. But it helps. If your budget is small, it helps.
I think there is any...
No. It's 7:30 now. I have another appointment. Can I leave now?
Yeah, you can. No problem.
You can continue.
Yeah, there are many questions, but I think we have to wind it up because our Bina, have you got something to say?
Yeah, I just want to talk about this business of budget. I think rather than defining a film by its budget, you define a film by the ideas it brings up. How does it pose questions to the mainstream? How does it, how does it go against what we consider as the mainstream, which is in Malayalam cinema at least, or in all Indian cinema, it was star-driven. There were, it was full of tropes, as Joseph said, violence, aesthetics. I think anything that goes against that narrative is important. We are not only looking, as Kunjala said, of course everybody wants to make a big proper film, but the point is, what is the politics of that film? What is the process by which you make this film? These are the questions I think that are much more engaging and important, rather than just saying, because I have a small budget film, it is an independent film. It isn't. Often, that's why I gave the example of Parasite and these films, which are actually huge budget films, but go against what is happening in Korean cinema. What is Korean cinema about? At the moment, Korean cinema, I mean, a lot of it is about a lot of violence, ghost stories, etc. But when Parasite comes up talking about a totally different this thing, now do you say it is a mainstream film? It is appropriated, of course, by the mainstream, but the ideas are not. So I think this notion of just budget being associated with what is mainstream is what Joseph was saying earlier. It is the aesthetics, the politics, and the ideas that make a film. And I think that is where Malayalam cinema, whether it is big budget films or small budget films, have always sort of had people who swim against the stream. And that is what is interesting about Malayalam cinema, that for an outside, I mean, within us, we have all our differences, but for an outside audience, what you do see is a variety of cinema that goes against what is the notion of the mainstream in India. I think that is why that is the strength of Malayalam.
Can I add a point to that, please?
Please.
Can I add something to that?
Yeah, sure.
The point is that I agree generally with what Beena said, but there's one point I do not agree with. That is, Mr. Joseph had also raised it. That's if someone goes out and makes a very small film with a very small budget, it's very cheap. Does it become an independent film? I think it does become an independent film. The question is, it may not be a good independent film, but it is an independent film. This is a distinction we have to make. If you go out and make a film with your mobile camera, and if it's a bad film, it is still an independent film. It may be a bad independent film. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you for the observation. And there is a question to Mr. V.K. Joseph. This is an observation that in reality, the stereotyping of women and subaltern identities in the cinema has changed very little. Though there are platforms which address such issues, there is a need of a larger framework to be formed. Actually, it's a statement regarding the subaltern identities and the stereotyping of women, which are still existing in cinema now. There is not much change. That is what Arshadas has pointed out.
I'm sorry, because of the heavy rain here, I lost touch.
Oh. In between, Premchand had a question to you, but Premchand has left. Premchand has left. Okay.
Yeah, but
Joseph can
this
answer.
question, yeah. So this observation is right, I think, because I think that it won't change all of a sudden, because it changed gradually. It will not change in cinema alone. It starts from our life, our culture, our consciousness, our public mind. So how the public mind is constructed with this ideological, this thing, and patriarchal, and this casteism and anti-women, so male chauvinistic. Everything is in our life, in our literature, in our cinema, in our politics, in our cultural scenario. Everywhere it is there. So the issue is we have to fight with that. The filmmakers have to fight. The film critics have to fight. They have to write on that. The sociologist has to write, and the politicians has to write. Activists has to fight. So the issue, this it's a continuous fight and struggle to achieve the gender equality and freedom of the people and everything. We cannot achieve all of a sudden. We will continue our struggle.
Okay, thank you.
I think one way is if more women come and make films also.
Yeah,
Okay.
I'd like to. I think the one thing in Malayalam cinema is that we see that there is too little female participation, and this is an important issue that has to be addressed, I think. And I think Kunjala has asked that, and I think she has given an important suggestion that when we think of a market, not only should it be for outside people, but for filmmakers or writers and upcoming filmmakers to pitch within Kerala. Let us call our producers and say, meet new people. I think that is a important point that is made, that let there be interaction within the industry, to let there be a platform for youngsters to meet producers within the industry.
Yeah, that is exactly what is happening, because they are just going backward, you know. They're not coming forward. Of course, a few are coming up, but that should not be the situation. The city should be broad. Now, there is a question to Mr. Jayaraj. Malayalam cinema, regarding the Malayalam cinema subtitles. So in order to promote the film outside the Malayali audience, we need to have subtitles. So why you are not giving subtitles, or why you are not concentrating on the subtitle part? It's a question by Jose CP. No, no audio, Jayaraj. No audio.
Switch phone.
Okay. No audio. No audio.
Mic on cheyidam.
Mic on. No, it's not coming. Switch on the mic.
പറ്റുന്നില്ലേ? Mic on ചെയ്ത് നോക്ക് മുകളിൽ.
No audio. No, there may be some problem, technical problem. Okay, so most of the questions are about OTT platforms, and we have already discussed it. So I am not taking that questions.
No, OTT platform, and Beena and Santosh already talk about that. So Santosh can.
No, because we have already discussed it.
Yeah.
In almost all questions we have discussed about OTT platform. The questions are repeating almost the same manner.
I would just like to say one thing.
Kunyila was telling, my question was not answered. Ms. Beena Paul just said that the issue is that there is no buying happening. How is that related to independent filmmakers not having a pitching market?
Yeah,
we have already answered it.
I just said that, yeah, that point is well taken, and I don't think that this is the academy against independent filmmakers. I completely appreciate and understand what Santosh, Satish, Sanal, all of them go through. It's not, but as a government body, we have to have a little bit of a, it's not personal, because I know we are all friends and we all have worked together at various points, etc. This is not a personal thing at all. It's just that, Malayalam cinema is such an animal, because there is such a lot of interesting things happening. So we have to also find ways to balance and make sure that everybody gets this thing. And I think this point is very well taken, of a pitching forum, more promotion, etc. But it hasn't happened so far because of certain limitations, and we'll certainly address that. But this is not the academy against independent filmmakers. The academy is certainly not looking at it like that. I would like to say that.
Yes.
Can I add something to that?
Yeah, please. Make it quick.
There's nothing personal at all. We are all friends, nothing personal. And I'm not saying that the academy is against independent cinema. I have never said that. I think you have misconstrued my statements. I've not said that. All I'm saying is that the academy is focusing more on middle cinema and mainstream, and very little on independent cinema. That's my argument. And what I want to say is that you say that all films need to be promoted, and the academy needs to do that. But let me ask you, do you think a film like Kumbalangi Nights or Mahesh and the Pradhikaram need any kind of promotion from the academy? Do any of these
this is
need
actually
any promotion from the academy? This is my doubt. I think they don't.
I would just like to say that Kumbalangi Nights did extremely well, right? But it could have also not done well, right? This was a risk that was taken by the filmmaker, etc., right? My thing was, as I said earlier, when we showcase Malayalam cinema, and over the year, a film like Kumbalangi Nights has happened, do we not in the festival bouquet, after all, it's only a bouquet of films, right? Do we not show that film as something that has happened in Malayalam cinema? Because it did well or because it ran. If it had not run, would we have shown it? See, the point is, that is the thing, that also very interesting films run in Malayalam. Very interesting work happens in Malayalam. And therefore, when we show a bouquet of films, we have to consider, and it is, I think, incorrect to say that we only show those. In the last, I mean, your films have all been shown. Most of them have been shown at the festival. This year itself, there were so many. It was almost a mix. Yeah, sometimes there are hits and misses, and there are mistakes, and there are not, some film that passes through. But that happens in every festival, I must say, that there are some, film that later goes on to do so well and we haven't shown. But on the whole, I would say that we are trying to promote an understanding of what is happening all over in Malayalam cinema. And I think it is not, and the commitment is to not whether the film has run or made on a small budget, but into the idea, the aesthetics, the possibilities it has opened, the challenges it has given to the audience. These are the things also we take into consideration. That's my only point. I'm not saying that we have always been right or wrong or anything. That's not my point. My point is that we do not choose one over the other. We try and choose in totality. That is the festival. But in terms of promotion, I think that, every single film that comes to me, I try to we send it through the academy to festivals and so on. So this, I would just not like to sort of pitch the academy against filmmakers who we appreciate, understand, and appreciate a lot.
Thank you, Bina. Now I think there is a statement, a remark by Sanal Kumar Sachidharan, the filmmaker, regarding your point. The friction between the academy and independent or alternate filmmakers have reached its peak. I think it is time to stop and start again. Now, when Santosh Babusanan says something, we can see Bina is getting upset, thinking that he is directly accusing her, and V.K. Joseph trying to justify defining what is independent cinema or mainstream cinema and what is not. I think that it is high time to change perspective. People have to appreciate opinions and criticisms in a more impersonal way. The hostility is not going to help cinema anyway. It's a remark, so I just wanted to read it. That's all. Thank you. Because you already.
Can you hear me? My voice?
Yeah, now we can hear.
Yeah.
You have a question? You told me. No.
I think there was a question, but I couldn't answer because.
I don't know, but that was Premchand. He left.
Okay.
Okay. Actually, there are.
There was a question about subtitles.
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah, I think nowadays almost all the films are coming out with subtitles. Definitely. Previously, it was not like that. Nowadays, almost all Malayalam films are coming out with English subtitles.
Yeah. Thank you. There is a question by Joe CP. I think any one of you can answer. Old wine in a new bottle? Definitely not. Then what you can say about Ran Kalyani and controversial biryani? They are in new paths. Definitely. I think this question will be like this. Who can answer? Joseph can answer. Joseph, did you hear the question?
I need not answer that. About each and individual cinemas and all, we don't want to.
Yeah, right.
That's not the right space to
discuss.
Is Bina left?
Yeah, Bina is there. There is another question.
Can we stop it?
Yeah,
we can stop.
Yeah, one more question. In Karnataka, we had a directors film bazaar to sell in and buy Kannada movies. It was the joint effort of Directors Association. It's again a statement by Michael Vishwamitra. Any comment? So if there is no comment, I think we can stop the discussion. We have almost answered all the questions. We have almost
connection.
Yeah. We will because it's raining outside, heavily raining, and
heavily.
Because of the because we have so many questions and many questions were of the same nature. That is why I didn't take up all those questions. But I am very sure that almost all questions are properly answered. Of course, there will be controversies and there will be contradictions, and that is the point of discussions in this type of webinar. And we are happy that such points were raised. And now I have to conclude the session. Actually, as from the comments I get it in the chat box, the webinar was well received, and the topics were well covered, and there was a very lively discussion. That is what the people chat in the chat box. So that means our webinar has, to some sort of, to some extent, it has gone to success. So we are all happy that this series of webinar will be continuing, and the next webinar, FIPRASI's webinar, will be on Northeast cinema. So likewise, we are covering almost all parts of Indian cinema in the further webinars of FIPRASI. And I'm so thankful to the speakers, the participants, and also I have to thank Premendra Majumdar, who is the secretary of the FIPRASI, and who has taken all the pains to organize this wonderful webinar. And he is always busy with organizing something or other things with respect to FIPRASI. So my special thanks to Premendra Majumdar on behalf of FIPRASI. And also I have to thank Debian, who was the technical executor in Kolkata, who is wonderfully doing this technical platform. Is managing the technical platform very well, and thanks to Debian too, and thanks to all participants, and Sri Bina Paul, Sri Jairaj, Sri Santosh Babusinan, Sri VK Joseph, and Sri Premchand to making this webinar a success. Thank you all. Thank you so much. We'll see you at the next webinar. Thank you.
Bye. Thanks.
Santosh, we should talk someday.
No. Let me end the event. Yes.